right, and welcome back. This is the last part. Here is where we are ending. We're hitting the last nail on the coffin, right? And before we go further, interact with us. We've asked you a question: which is the business that you can start that can make you money or profit very fast? And in biashara gani, ukianza TV pap, ushaanza kurip off benefits? That's the question on social media. We'll be sampling shortly part of the feedback in just a bit, but interact with us at Y254 channel and at Brian Sako 101. And also I'm alongside my Costa, Mr. Manu.
Yes,
as well.
Burning_dollar.
Right. All right, so this conversation is basically centered on matters road safety. We were supposed to have a guest who should be live with us in studio, but yeah, we're going to actually also share with you info around it. So from National Transport Association of Kenya, NTSA, National Transport and Safety Authority, not association, beg your pardon. Over 2,000 people lost their lives in Kenya on roads, in road accidents for the past 6 months this year, from January to July 7th of 2024, with over 10,166 others nursing serious injuries, with an estimated of 11,502 road crashes. That's according to a report tabled by the National Transport and Safety Authority, NTSA. And some of the causes of this include overspeeding, driving under the influence, not wearing safety belts or seat belts, fatigue, distraction. But then there's something, Manu, that literally gets my eye. When you look at a road specifically like Thika Road, what's usually happening with people? Why can't people just cross at the specific cross-section set or at a footbridge? You'll find where vehicles are overspeeding. That's where people are rushing to cross. And then there's like specific, once you cross it, you know. So what usually happens to people? Is it because they're not privy to road safety measures, or somebody just wants to cross to the other side very fast? Afike kwenye naenda lakini pay attention to, you know, his life or her life.
I think people are used to shortcuts. People want the shorter way out. And that's what really happens. Unapata someone thinks that maybe the flyover is way too far. Maybe like 2-3 blocks away, and you think that nikivuka hapa along the highway, it's more fast than going all the way to where the footbridge is, or where the flyover is. Okay. So I think it's mostly ignorance. And funny enough that people see people getting hit, but you'll find someone still crossing at the same spots. It's some sort of ignorance.
Yeah. Is it because we need to do a lot of enough civic education? Because umeona tu vizuri, there's a footbridge here. You're supposed to safely. In fact, I've been to the one that's close to is that G4S or the GSU area? Yeah, there's a footbridge there, but you'll find somebody just crossing up katikati. And on the other side, vehicles are really speeding, especially the ones that are going on the other direction. It's like zinaenda beyond 80 kilometers. But unakuta tu mtu amengoja, like there's a car, it's impending, it's coming, but anacross. So maybe it's lack of civic education, because if somebody can abandon a footbridge that has shelter, you know, looks like a canopy, and cross up with chin, it means that they're not told, you know, they're not well educated in terms of road safety.
Yeah, I think also the government should impose some rules and regulations that if you are caught, maybe crossing the highway where there is no footbridge, there is a fine. You see, the same way they arrest drivers who drop people where there is no stages. I think they should put some rules like that and put people on the watch. That if 2-3 people get arrested, I believe that people will stop crossing the roads recklessly. So I think lack of some civic education.
But then peer drunk driving, or you can also even call it DIY, driving under influence, DUI rather, not DI, DUI, driving under influence. People would go to a Friday sherehe, you know, party, but then unajua tu vizuri, you cannot maintain your stability on the road, and then you have like 6 people at the back of this, you know, whichever brand of car, and you guys are speeding, you know, heading towards wherever you came from. You know, when it comes to even educating people on sober, because even when I don't know if you've been through a driving class, you're told you're the only sane person on that road as you're driving that car. In fact, you should not even be conversing with people you're driving with. But in these cars, people are blasting music, others are even texting, others are even reviewing videos. And, you know, we've even seen, there was a clip of, I think it was a passenger vehicle on Gong Road, that this guy is driving, but he's lost on texting. Adiyame create a whole traffic ampers jutua kwa texting hapo hivyo, until traffic police officers had to come in and, you know, knock. So when you see such things happening on this road, it just shows the level of fear of ignorance, as you said. But then also when you believe you're sane and you can drive, well, you can just focus until you fika destination yako. Si lazima text. But I believe in cases of emergencies, because there's also people who are good at multitasking, which is not a good thing. Even in driving school, you're taught not to multitask.
Actually, that's even triple tasking.
Yeah.
Driving, the road, the phone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, or even also, you know, speaking to someone or even responding conversations, yeah.
So I think we have a problem with the people in those vehicles. Like your friend is drunk, he's the driver. Why allow him to drive you at the first place? And I have a friend of mine, he drinks a lot. And I once questioned him and told him, and wakati unaendanga sherehe, why don't you just leave your car, you can take an Uber. I concentrate more when I'm drunk.
Yeah. Or use public service vehicle.
Yeah. He told me concentrate more when he's drunk, and I was like, but now the people, personally, you should not allow to be carried by a drunk driver. And the people who are aboard matatus, me, I'm very vocal, by the way. You see your driver is overspeeding, call him out.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably he will respond badly, but he will slow down. He will stop maybe being on his phone. You just call him out. You tell him, hey, I love my life. If you don't love your life, please stop doing that. I think your ignorance, be the first one to advocate for your life.
Yeah. The specific matatus, I think, zinaitwaje, the Nganyas.
Nganya.
Yeah, especially the Rongai. By the way, shout out. I know like 3 of the Makangas in Rongai because I used to school at multimedia, so, you know, we had connections here. So these guys have a way of competing with the fastest car on the road. Now, like you can never overtake. You know, there's even a meme, people that you can't compete with, matatu za Rongai, I don't know, and something else. Because these guys, they believe when they're on the road, they're the king of the road. But they're not also paying. I'm not calling them out, but it's a thing. It was on a meme, you know. They also say, hey, we'll call out Sako. You know, those people are very vocal, yeah. But there's just a way about them. They believe what they do is right. But also when it comes to things like road safety, putting people's lives at risk by overspeeding, you're literally endangering a whole entire family. There's somebody who's a father in there, there's somebody who's a daughter, there's somebody who is a son, there's somebody's husband, wife in there. So when you're overspeeding, just know that you're putting everyone's life at risk. But then, like you said, calling out, there's people who have rude responses. Was on X yesterday, there's this lady who was sharing her journey from, I think it was Taita Taveta. The driver had an argument with one of the passengers mwenye alikuwa maacha na the bus that she was supposed to board. So akafanyiwa favor, akapanda hii, but akaanza kuleta, you know, the exchange. So, you know, they're exchanging in Swahili, ile Swahili ya Costa, and then this driver gets angry, and then he starts recklessly driving. And then, in fact, the clip was shared. I don't know how it's a coincidence. I read the tweet yesterday. And you see now in such instances, the driver is triggered because memwongelesha vibaya, and now he's endangering the lives of, you know, over 50 people on board. I
think the government personally needs to come in. Personally, what you have talking about the matatu za Ronga, what is the government doing on the other side? Because if these people overspeed on these highways, there's the traffic police. They should be, they should be making sure that these people don't overspeed. These people, they abide by the rules and laws of the highways. Yeah. But mostly, these Nganyas make a lot of money, and by the end of the day, everyone knows police, they are given their 50 bob on the way, so you never know. But they should be the ones protecting our people, standing out for them. And I saw actually some accidents ni vitu za kujitakia. I'm sorry to say this for the people who lose their lives, but there's this guy, Moneki, he's a bike driver. He drove from Nairobi to Thika in 18 minutes with his speed bike. What? And then he got an accident 2 days later.
That happened over the weekend.
Yeah, because of overspeeding. I was like, if, you know, like the previous day when he was breaking the record to drive in 18 minutes, it makes sense. But now, in between, why are you speeding? It's okay, he's a biker. He needs to race and show his speed, but at the right time, not just overspeeding anytime.
On a busy road like Thika Road,
yeah,
Thika Road,
you can imagine on the way a bike 290 kilometers per hour. That's
is it electric bike or just normal cycling? Cycling bike.
No, it's not a cycling bike. It's a motorbike. It's a speed bike.
That's even dangerous. Yeah. It's so like these guys with these e-bikes, you know, and you're like, are you about to take off? You're not a jet, please. Yeah.
Yeah, and those people need to understand that that bike doesn't have a body. You are the body of that bike. Si kama gari kona body. Wewe ni wewe. In case of an accident, you get immediate hit, immediate contact. So it's very unfortunate he lost his life. May God rest his soul in peace. But to all bikers, if you are not racing, if the road is not cleared, you don't need to show people that you have speed. Because if you know to drive, you know to drive. You don't need to prove it to everyone at every time. So if possible, you can just maybe watch on your speed. It's so sad to lose such a young man. Few days after breaking that record. It's something that he can control, something that you can just drive slow. Wait for another occasion, you can showcase your speed.
Yeah, there's people who literally get thrills by speed driving. So I don't know if it's mental, it's because of adrenaline, because I can only imagine if you're driving at a speed, you know, when you're in a flight and it's about to take off, at least it goes through the stages of speed. It jet sets itself on the runway and then inaanza kidogo. Then finally, because it knows, hakuna mtu uko mbele, ni wewe na runway, and then you're heading to the skies. But the speed these guys are using is the speed of a jet that's about to take off. And imagine there's cars, there's distraction, there's somebody who's just about to turn into another lane. And maybe they're even issuing their blinker or their indicator light, and boom. I can only imagine that situation playing in my head of somebody just... That crash is fatal, like you are literally gone to your creator. It's literally gone. But then also there's people who are not wearing seat belts. I remember there was a time, I think during Matiangi. Yeah, they told everyone, including Mat Zaronga, Nizi, to have safety belts on. And this is because when it comes to, also, for example, in our overspeeding, when you're in a public service vehicle and you're on a safety belt, at least you're sure if something happens, when there's that instant braking, at least it will prevent you from moving forward and moving back, and then you'll shield yourself. Because we've even seen reports where this bus had instant brakes on, and the people who were sitting at the back found themselves in front of that car, and it ran over them. So probably if they had their safety belts on, that incident wouldn't be recorded. But then it looks like right now, we are not even there. Like nobody, in fact, if you see anyone in a safety belt, maybe they're in their own car, in their own Chrysler, Porsche, Audi, whatever. Like people who are just, you know, respectable, utamona kona safety belt yake, but just ordinary Kenyans, people are just sitting like, they're sitting in their houses, huko, having fun, yeah. Do you believe maybe we should reinforce such policies that let's have cabinet secretary or transport and the kuambia watu sasa ni time ya kuvaa safety belt, and then pia they reduced, I think, the number of seats during the time ya Matiangi. Wakasema it's literally 14, it's a 14 seat, 14, but unakuta like the other day, I think it was a school van, 14 it had, I think around 100. Was it in Uganda, Tanzania? It was one of the countries. You would see like 20 kids alighting in a minivan, wanatoka na hawaishi, and this van was overspeeding. So you can imagine such, you know, levels of ignorance.
So first, I think it starts from a personal level again. You see, someone can decide to board a matatu. The matatu is full, very full. You can even see, even watu wamekalia the sambaza. There is some weird wood wanatumianga in between the seats.
The sambaza.
Yeah, sambaza. Unapata mtu umekadi kwa hiyo sambaza, but someone will still get on that. But
maybe vehicle. It's the only means of matatu.
Okay, let's talk in Thika Road. In Thika Road, we have plenty of matatus, but you'll find someone still an extra. Like you still want to sit there. You still want to
stand.
Or
because it's really annoying. You're paying the same amount as someone who is seated, and then you're standing and holding onto the grills. I think it's annoying.
Yeah, and about the safety belts. Maybe some people can wear safety belts, but you can't wear a safety belt on a matatu that doesn't have a safety belt. So I think the government needs to come in there. The CS for transport, now there is where it comes. It needs to come in and make sure that all matatus have safety belts. And then now the traffic police can deal with the passengers who are not wearing safety belts. Yeah. Because to be honest, matatus, they don't have safety belts. Yeah, they don't.
Even this Nganyas, I hear the latest one is Manifest. It's still running the Ongatarongai route. And they pointed out it's somebody's, I don't want to mention the name, but you know, But I think they have, because, you know, if a matatu is new, because wanasema imeenda kupikwa, that's what they say, inapikwa sijui wapi. As it's being pikwad while it's coming back, so at least it should be.
It should have.
I think I'll check, I'll confirm, I'll tell you next week. Yeah, because I can only imagine if you're ferrying around 40 people in this van and hakuna safety belt, it means that the people who are making this machine did not have the good intentions for the safety of these guys, because that shows ignorance, yeah?
Yeah, plus
Absolutely.
even these matatus, they even go to services. If you look, I come from along the Thika Road. There are some very matatus, I don't want to mention names, but you might find a matatu, the roof is not even there. The side, a window is not there. You are in a matatu, it's uko tu, kwa imani, it's like you're just moving. It's by the grace.
Yeah.
Let you just reach wherever you are going by the grace of God. Ni matatu, it's
like it may beat
to an extent that it's not supposed to be on the way, on the highway, but you find that it's on the highway, very operational, and we still have the traffic police on the highway, and I'm like, I'm sure matatu
and they'll
like
pick their share, you know, they'll say,
and that's now Kenya with corruption, that's what's killing this country.
I think now that's unroadworthy vehicles. I think there's one of the vans, I think it's plying the Syokimau, the Kabete, I've forgotten the other side, yeah? The guy recorded the video, and you're in the matatu, but you're able to see, as in you're seeing the road. And this matatu is overspeeding. The seats are worn out, and everybody's like holding on to the front, and it's like going to 120. But anyways, zinakwanga 80 kilometers, but it looked like it's beyond even 100.
I don't know the fun thing, when you are in these matatus, you don't feel as if it's overspeeding. When you are in a car and it's overspeeding, mostly, if you don't look at the gauge, you won't feel it. You won't, someone outside in the gauge, igari na prepare. But once you are inside, I think people should be very careful.
Maybe on that as well, what do you think is the biggest factor in road accidents, especially in Kenya? Here, in fact, for this year only, let me just point out, because we're also coming from a backdrop of like accidents after accidents, and you wonder like what's happening. I think at it was some point people are saying we should call for national prayers to just cleanse these roads. I think there's one where a family traveled from Ongata-Rongai to Meru or Nyeri, and well, they were coming back, all of them perished at one of the bridges. I think it's Nithi.
Nithi the 14, bridge, there were ladies.
Yes, yeah. And then there was another one that happened at Gataka. The car lost control, tripped into a river, and people died. And here they're saying for this year only, 3,056 lives have been lost between January and August 27th of this year. And 2,910 deaths have been recorded in the same period last year. So for this year, the number is high, moved to 3,056. Like last year, it was 2,910. So it means something is off, right? Something is off. But then I thought also with the expressway, you know, somebody would say, imesaidia kuleta, you know, bridging traffic. But then when they said that they're not allowing buses to be there, people say, ni sawa, because they're charging. Is it the T something? I've forgotten the word they use here. So maybe we should have alternative roads, because also evening time, leaving the CBD is like, you know, it's living another country without a passport here. Traffic is thick and fast. But then also the ones that manage to maneuver through, they're overspeeding, ready to get back. So when I put some of these discrepancies, from accidents to even careless driving, there's people who use unroadworthy vehicles. There's people who are even, I don't want to read it here, but they're saying there's people who are engaging in activities while they're driving. Yeah. You're driving, but you're doing something with a person who's seated next to you. You know, it happens a lot too. We can use the Gen Z, we can blame the Gen Zs, because, you know. But why should you... We don't even
have cars.
Why should you be engaging with someone seated next to you and you know very well, you're in charge of a steering wheel?
Most of the people are misled by the films. You see, people watch a lot of movies.
Yeah.
And they don't know that in this movie, that road was cleared. And people want to try it in real life. And maybe... Actually, the biggest thing that is causing accidents in Kenya, I would say we ourselves. You find a driver busy on the phone, like you said, while driving. You find a Kenyan, you're there, you want to be an extra in that vehicle. And of course, these vehicles, they have a number that they're supposed to carry.
Yeah.
Kuna weight to your gari for it to be stable, and there's a speed that it can go, and there's that weight.
Yeah.
But you find that wewe tu mwenyewe, wewe tu mbinafsi. So I say that it should begin with us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Personally, just say that I love my life, and what happens? You need to overthink, be an overthinker when it comes to boarding matatus. This matatu, how does it look? You can even go to an extent of judging the conductor or the driver because it can tell a lot by the driver. Unaweza pata driver ko jaba and then that's the matatu you want as if it's the only matatu.
But he'll say the jabber is the one that makes him to stay sober. You know?
Yeah, it makes him to focus.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think personally, it starts with an individual. We yanze na wewe. Just say no. And again, the government needs to look like we have very famous places where accidents take place, famous bridges, and I think the government should focus on it more.
Right.
Yeah.
So maybe we can take a very short break, and when we come back, thanks for your insights. When we come back, we'll be speaking to a road safety activist. We were supposed to be interacting with in just a bit, so please stay with us. The conversation still continues in just a bit at Brian Sako 101. You said at Emmanuel
Matagaro Banning _dollar.
All right, at Y254 channel. We take a break, we come back shortly.